Hey, everybody, this is Mr. Ainsworth, and we're getting into type 2 here, and we're going to take a look at how to multiply binomials times binomials using the distributive property here and look at all different types. All right, so in the first video here, I talked about how to just multiply a monomial times another polynomial. Okay, that was pretty straightforward. You just distribute and multiply, and when you multiply variables, you add exponents, as I was talking about. And type 2, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do some 2 by 2s, okay? So meaning a binomial here. Okay, binomial, bi means 2, as you guys know. Okay, so when you take a binomial times a binomial, both of them contain 2 terms, and I just call them 2 by 2s for short. Okay, so you use the distributive property, or if you've learned the FOIL method, you can use FOIL method, which is distributive property. It's the acronym. Okay, FOIL method, first, outer, inner, last. All right, if you don't know that, don't worry about it. If you just know the distributive property, that's all you really need. Okay, but the FOIL method is an acronym, first, outer, inner, last, and it just means that you multiply 4 times. It's just a helpful way to remember the how you do it. Okay, so I'll explain it in general terms, and then I'll kick in the FOIL method, which is the same thing as distributive property. Okay, so let's get started. Here we go. And again, go at your own pace here. All right, really, really important here. A lot of people just watch a video and copy, which is not the way to do it. Okay, so really important. Go at your own pace. And believe it or not, it's a video, so you can do that. Okay, which means you can pause it at any time. If you don't understand, you rewind it, of course. All right, and then pause, rewind, and then play, and then go at your own pace. I know it sounds silly me saying that, but believe it or not, I've seen many people, they just watch a video and they copy and they don't learn a damn thing. So you got to be wise when you study and when you go through a video. Use it properly. Okay? So here we go. So multiplying 2 binomials using the distributive property. So here you take 2x and you got to distribute it through the second binomial. So you got to take 2x times 4x in the FOIL method. That's the first product. First term times first term. Okay, that's f for first term. So 2x times 4x, well, guess what? That's 8x squared. And as I talked about in my previous video, x times x is x squared. All right, when you multiply variables, all right, you add their exponents. X times x is x squared. It's that simple. Now you're taking 2x times this binomial, and guess what? A binomial has a second term. So 2x times a negative 5, that's a negative 10x. All right, I'm going to switch colors. So switch colors with me here. It doesn't matter what color, just switch. And then 3 here times 4x, and I say positive 3 because there's a plus sign. So positive 3 times 4x, well, guess what? That gives you 12x, right? It's positive. And instead of just writing it in a row here, I'm going to line up like terms. So I'm going to write it here. I'm going to line it up with the minus 10x because guess what? They're like terms. And then 3 times negative 5 is in negative 15. And then what you want to do is combine like terms. Combine like terms right here. And of course, we're talking about the terms here, the outer and inner products here. So here we have, what does we have? We have 8x first, excuse me, 8x squared. Now minus 10x plus 12x is the same thing as 12x minus 10x. And I don't know about you guys, but 12 minus 10 is usually 2. And that's positive, so I'm going to put a plus sign here. So I have 2x's remaining. And this constant here, this minus 15, well, that's just a constant. And again, this is in descending order here. I talked about that in my previous lesson. This is second degree here, first degree, and the degree of a constant is 0. All right, and it's in descending order here. Descending order, what does that mean? It means high to low. Okay, high exponent to low exponent. All right, second degree, first degree. I'm talking about the degrees of the powers. So if you're wondering that, when I say power, I'm talking about the exponents. All right, and so what you can do in this video, if you, it'd be good, is if you pause and play. Like right now, if you think you know what you're doing, pause it, try it, and then plus play when you are ready. And then just go at your own pace. So, so here we go. So let's try another one, assuming you're ready here. So we have x times 4x, which is 4x squared. Again, x times x is always x squared. That's the first times first. In FOIL, that's first times first. Your outer product is the outer terms, right? So x times negative 7 is a negative 7x. There's your outer product. So O, and in the FOIL acronym, outer, O is for outer product. So you multiply the terms on the outer product. Now the inner product, well, the terms on the inside, right? So that's negative 3 times 4x, and that's a negative 12x. And again, notice that I'm lining up like terms here. And then a negative 3 times negative 7, guess what? That's positive 14. All right, and then you just add like terms. So I'm going to bring down the 4x squared, and then a minus 7x and a minus 12x. If you're subtracting 7x's and you're subtracting 12 more x's, you're subtracting 19 x's in total. And then you have this constant here plus 14. And again, you can't combine like terms here because the degrees are different, and you can't add like terms with different exponents, or terms with different exponents. Okay, now let's go here to the upper right here to part I here. Let's take a look at this one. Just focus in on the new stuff here. All right, and the first thing you want to do on this one, well, you want to distribute through the 2. All right, so you have to start with the first 2 terms, just like 2 times 3 times 4. Well, you work from left to right, and you go 2 times 3 is 6, and then whatever you got 6 here, and you still have to multiply 4, and you get 24, right? You work from left to right. So left to right, as we normally do. So I'm going to take 2 times the x minus 2, and I get a new product, right? So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times a minus 2 is a minus 4. Keep that in parentheses there and bring down the next term, the 4x minus 9. So you multiply the first 2 terms. So 2 times x minus 2 gives you 2x minus 4. And then you take that result and then you multiply by the third term, which is a binomial. And this is where the what we just did comes in. So here we go. Next step. 2x times 4x is 8x squared. And 2x times a negative 9 is negative 18. All right, x. Next product. Negative 4 times 4x is negative 16x here. So negative 4 times positive 4x is negative 16x. And then the last product here, because you got to multiply through the binomial, negative 4 times negative 9. A negative times a negative is a positive, and you get 36. And then of course, you add like terms. All right, and so what do we get? We get 8x squared first. So a minus 18x and a minus 16x, you're subtracting 34 in all. So that's a minus 34x here. A negative plus a negative is bigger than negative. Or just think subtraction, that's fine too. Okay, and then add the 36 and you're done. Again, so you're just distributing here. You're multiplying the first 2 numbers or polynomials. Whatever you get, you multiply it by the third, just like you did in grade school. All right, you work from left to right and just simply multiply. Again, pause the video here and then of course and then check your work when you're ready. All right, give it a shot. All right, so I assume you worked it out. So just like the previous problem, here we go. So we have 4 times x is 4x. 4 times a negative 1 is negative 4. Put it in parentheses, and then bring down the next polynomial, or the binomial here. So again, you work from left to right. 4 times x minus 1 is 4x minus 4. Important there, make sure it's in parentheses, because now you have this new polynomial here times the 3x minus 5. All right, so then you just start distributing again. 4x times 3x is 12x squared. 4x times a minus 5 is a minus 20x. And then you distribute through the minus 4. So minus 4 times 3x is a negative 12x. And then a minus 4 times a minus 5, or a negative 4 times a negative 5 is a positive 20. And then you add like terms. So we have 12x first, 12x squared. A minus 20x and a minus 12x, well, you're subtracting 32 in all. So minus 32x here, and then plus the constant. And that is how it's done, my friends. Now, the next one's a little bit different here. What you want to do when you square a binomial is you want to expand it. Okay, so expand it first. So we know that when you square something, you multiply it by itself. We know that. So when you take x minus 1 to the second power, that means x minus 1 times, well, x minus 1, right? So what do you get? Well, we got to take x times x to give x squared. X times a minus 1 give a minus x. And then, of course, you got to distribute the minus 1. So a negative 1 times x is a negative x. And a negative 1 times a negative 1 is a positive 1. And then you add like terms. So we have x squared. Okay. So you bring down the x squared. And a minus x and a minus x is a minus 2x. And then you have that constant plus 1. And that's how it's done. So try this right here. When you square the binomial x minus 4, it's done in a similar way. So pause the video, give it a shot, and see how it goes. All right, so let's check your work here. So we're going to expand it first. Oops, going to expand it. There we go. So whenever you square something, you multiply it by itself, and then you start distributing. So here we have x times x is x squared. X times a minus 4 is a minus 4x. Negative 4 times x is a negative 4x again. And then negative 4 times a negative 4 is positive 16. And then you add like terms. So what do we get? We get a x squared first. A minus 4x and a minus 4x is a minus 8x, because you're subtracting 8 and all, right? Subtracting 4x is first. You subtract 4 more, subtracting 8 and all, right? And then you get 16 as to add the constant. Those are called constants, okay? Non-variable term. All right, now if you're bold, brave, and courageous, go ahead and try this one. This one's similar, but you got to multiply it by 4 as well. So expand it first, and then give it a shot. So remember, expand first. All right, pause the video and go for it. All right, so let's check your work here. We're going to expand it first so we can see what it really is. So 4 times 3x minus 5 times 3x minus 5. Now it's just like the one at the top of the screen there. See that? It's the same thing. So you're going to work from left to right, and you're going to multiply by 4 first. You can only multiply 2 things at a time. Okay, and it's really important. All right, work from left to right using your skills. Okay, and you can only multiply 2 things at once. So when I multiply 4 times the first binomial here and distribute it twice, I get a result. I'm going to put in parentheses. And then I'm just going to, whatever I get, I got to multiply the 3x minus 5. All right, so let's work on the first part here. So 4 times 3x is 12x. 4 times the negative 5 is a negative 20. And now I have that, right? I have the first 2 terms. I got these 2 multiplied. And then I just take it and I multiply it by the 3x minus 5. All right, so just go slow. Work at your own pace, step by step. So here we go. So let's take 12x times 3x. 12 times 3, that's 36. X times x gives you x squared. 12x times a negative 5. Let me see, 12 times 5 is 60. 12 times negative 5 is negative 60, but I have to also multiply by x here. And then negative 20 times 3x is, oh, that's negative 60x as well. And then negative 20 times a negative 5, that sounds like 100 to me. All right, and then you add like terms. So you bring down the first term, 36x squared. And then the middle terms here, minus 60x. If you're subtracting 60x's and then subtracting 60 more, you're subtracting 120 total, right? And then you got the constant right there. And there we go. That is the lesson, my friends. All right, and that is how you multiply binomials together here. So in the last two lessons, this is what I've covered. Okay, and the next video here, I'll cover how to multiply binomials and trinomials in the same, basically the same technique. All right, and hopefully that helped you out. And the key thing to all of this stuff when you're learning things is to practice, okay? And make sure you check your work and your practice, because if you don't practice the right way, you're going to get worse, all right? So practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So always check your work as you go, all right, and get good at it. And I will see you in my next lesson. You guys take care. Bye-bye.